Hey there, friends. Lindbergh here of the Health and Fitness Motivation Podcast, and I am so honored to bring to you another Couch to Active friend of mine, client that has been with Couch to Active for quite a while, and she has a really amazing story, so much that she's gone through in her life, and I'm just so thrilled and honored that she's here to share a little bit about how her health and fitness journey. And so without any further ado, Lisa Salinger, thank you so much for joining the podcast today.
Oh, my pleasure. This is, I think, going to be fun and hopefully will help someone.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely will. So, Lisa, tell folks a little bit about where you are and where you are on the planet, and then a little bit about kind of what your health and fitness journey has been as of
Am I
today.
on the planet? Some days I wonder. Yes.
I
I
love it.
live in Pennsylvania. I've moved around the state of Pennsylvania for a lot of my life, but I'm back in Harrisburg, which is where I was born. And I am totally blind. The syndrome that caused my blindness, and all of this is from birth, involves that I don't make a lot of hormones. And the most notable, well, the ones that affect my life the most are that I don't make thyroid hormones and I don't make adrenaline. And that one especially can be tricky because your levels can go up and down and you can feel really kind of miserable. And um, if left untreated, if it goes too far afield, you can go into shock. It's also called Addison's disease.
Mm.
But overall, things were pretty good. No problem. The thing that I really like about the way that I am blind, and others who've lost their sight later in life may disagree, but I'm not really big into change. And so it is what it is, and it has been from the beginning, and it never changes. So that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've had friends who've said that they are really glad they had sight, so I guess we each get what
Mm-hmm.
is best for us.
Mm-hmm.
So in March of 2020, I got sick and I never got better. It was ultimately diagnosed as long haul COVID. I still think that name is funny. I feel like it makes me sound like a trucker. Riding the long haul.
Uh-huh.
And some days are really pretty good. I can count on one hand the days I am aware of that I have not had at least a low-grade fever.
Yeah.
Naps are a thing now. Naps used to be in my mind, unfortunately, for lesser mortals. And I really didn't nap well. And I
Mm-hmm.
just felt I'd wake up feeling groggy and grumpy. And I still do sometimes, but there are some days I just really cannot get through them physically um, without a nap. I have better and worse levels of brain fog. Um, the part of my brain that is equipped to handle smart aleck comeback seems to work fine, but sometimes the rest of it is not so good. Um, I'm really fortunate in a way because I don't have any of the respiratory issues, having a little bit of heart issues, still things to be checked out. But, a friend of mine said to me, well, this is just another chronic illness. I said, yeah, but I don't have a chronic illness. And she said, well, what would you call your Addison's disease? And I went, oh, well, I've had that all my life. It just seems different somehow.
Mm.
So this is still, I'm still really getting used to this. I'm learning that I have control issues. Lots and lots of control issues. Like if I wake up and I feel really good, my first thought is, wow, okay, what did I do or not do yesterday or the day
Mm.
before? And when
Mm-hmm.
I wake up feeling kind of awful, I'll say, well, what did I do wrong? And the fact that I don't seem to have any control is a little frustrating. I was saying to Lynn before we started recording, I wish I knew whether I was going to come out of this or whether it will just be this way for my whole life. I don't know why knowing would be better, but it would somehow. But on the positive side, one thing I've heard about people with long haul COVID is whether they started out couch potatoes or marathon runners, that they had ended up with quite poor tolerance to exercise. And so part of the therapy was slowly building that up. And so I'm kind of trying to be my own therapist. I'm have a goal for myself, and I usually am reaching it, of doing my rebounder twice a day for 15 minutes, and then taking 3 of Lynn's classes a week. Ironically, 15 minutes on the rebounder is easier than 10 minutes of standing still washing my dishes. Standing still is really hard. I don't know why, go figure. But it's been a learning experience for me. I'd rather not have had this particular learning experience, but since I have it, I'm doing the best I can not to waste it, not to have it be for nothing, and to do the work that I need to do for myself, both mentally, emotionally, and physically.
And Lisa, that's exactly what I've seen you do. And it's been really remarkable and inspiring to not only me, but everybody else in these classes that you take, because they know you're long haul COVID and you've got you got issues you're dealing with, and
Yeah.
yeah. And you still show up, you still come, you still do what you can. Sometimes you even come and you're like half a class, and then it's like,
Yeah.
peace out. Okay, for the person listening who is in your spot but feels like they can't, what does it make? What is it about you? What is it about your thought processes that actually still gets you to show up?
Um, I'm trying to learn to show myself grace. So, if I can only make it through 15, 20 minutes of the class, I just realized this is kind of funny, but when I leave, I don't beat myself up. And part of it is I'm so depleted. I don't have energy to beat myself up. I just realized that.
Oh, interesting.
But it does become a habit. And I was so afraid that if I did what I could and couldn't finish and then gave myself grace, that would be like giving myself a pass to slack off, that it really wasn't that bad. I really could have done more if I pushed. And I have really tried to think of it as speaking to a dear friend. And I know this has been kind of oversaid, but I would never say some of the things to a dear friend that I would say to myself. And so I am learning. The really weird thing is when I feel better, that's where I'm still learning, because I push too hard and it's like, I should be able to do this and I should be able to do that. And so I'm learning to I'm doing fairly well at giving grace to my sick self, but my partially or fully well self, that's still a work in progress.
Because you got energy to beat yourself up.
Yeah, I just realized that, and it's so warped, but it's absolutely true.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like anybody who's been sick for a few days. It's like, oh, watch out when they start feeling better, because that's when they get grumpy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow, wow. Oh, so somebody who is kind of where you're at and they're like, I don't know. I got chronic illnesses too. This is hard. I would be so embarrassed to go to a class and only make it 15 minutes and leave. I don't know what they would think of me. What words of wisdom do you have for them?
Well, I've been in a class when somebody else left, and that was really good for me to see,
Mm,
because I didn't feel like, oh, loser. I didn't feel the way about them that I would feel about me if I did it. Um, you know, Initially, when I first started doing the classes, I was leaving a fair number of them. I would say I was leaving about 50% halfway through. And now I'm leaving probably about 20%. And if and when I make it through an entire class, I feel like Ninja Warrior Woman. I feel so good. And it's really, I never would have believed this. My skepticism would have gotten in the way. But there were times when I went to class and I really didn't feel like it. I didn't want to be there because I was just exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I couldn't make it, and sometimes I had to not finish. But a good number of times I would find that I can, that not only did I make it through the whole class, now I might have had to modify some things, but, I felt better. I had a bit more energy, and it may not have been much more, but when you're that energy is a precious commodity. So you'll kind of take what you can, any extra that you can get. And I guess, I would say you don't have anything to lose by trying. And Lynn is really good at modifying. I mean, I remember one class, she's like, because she knew people's issues. She's like, if your ribs are this, do this. If you can't get down to the floor, do this. If you're, this, do this. And it's like,
Yep.
and eventually you don't have to hear all those every time, because you learn. Like, I have these cyst things on my knees that are super painful. So physically I can get down to the floor, but I don't really want to do it because it's a special kind of torture. It really hurts. So some of the things, when they do them, I'm doing different stretches and different modifications, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Totally.
It doesn't mean lesser than, I've learned.
It's respecting what our body can do today
Yeah.
and honoring that. And that gives space so we can grow where we're at.
Yeah.
Question for you. This is an impossible question, but I'm asking everybody this anyway. A year from now, where do you see yourself? What goes through your mind?
Oh gosh.
I know. And you can take a pass. You can plead the fifth. It's okay.
I'm going to set the bar kind of low, because I don't really know. I don't know how I will be feeling. What I would like to see myself doing in a year is attending a month's worth of classes 3 times a week and being able to complete them all. That's what I would like to see. And I'm like, yeah, would I like to see so much more? Yes. But can I work toward that? Yeah. Can I not beat myself up if I don't make it? I think so,
Wow. Fantastic. Oh my gosh. Well, Lisa, I seriously so appreciate you coming on and just sharing your story and what you're about. And folks, if you don't know Lisa, I mean, she does. She's the one who gets the room to crack a smile every time. Sometimes we get the giggles.
We seem to have a similar love of the absolute absurd.
Yes. You gotta laugh or you'll cry. So, well, Lisa, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Such an honor to have you here and be recording. And friends, if you are curious to learn more or want to try out a class and meet Lisa someday, she's in some of these, head on over to couchtoactive.com. Check it out. We would love to have you join us. Thanks so much.